Welcome to the Jeremiah Show. My grandfather fought in the Battle of Okinawa. The battle was the last major battle of World War II and one of the bloodiest. On April 1st in 1945, it was an Easter Sunday, the Navy's Fifth Fleet and more than 180,000 U.S. Army and Marine Corps troops descended on the Pacific island of Okinawa for a final push towards Japan. My grandfather was Clifford J. Perrault, Private First Class. By the time I became his grandson, it had been many years since he had fought. And I don't remember a lot about my grandfather. I was pretty young when he passed, except that he smelled like cigarettes, alcohol, Old Spice, and butterscotch candy. And I remember his sadness, although he always put a smile on my face. We were friends, and I would stay up late with him when I visited. We would watch Johnny Carson and laugh. And he would tell me the stories of the war. And being so young and not knowing better, I would ask him details. But there was a pain I could feel that stayed with him most nights. And I remember a sadness hung over his easy boy chair mixed with his cigarette smoke. Those memories of my grandfather are fading, and he has been gone for over half my life now, which makes me a little ashamed, I suppose. I fight the mind, the fading memories. I don't want to forget him. And my mother was a true flower child. She still is. My father, although he served for a few years, was a hippie too. How often do you think of your family members who sacrificed that traumatic time away from us to do what was so hard for us? How hard was that for them? How selfless? How scared were they? Did they miss us? For decades, when I think of those things, and then I talk to a veteran, I'm never sure exactly what to say. And so, shamefully, I probably say too little. Because what do you say to those who experience battle for us and who have seen and done things that we can't imagine? Thank you, I suppose. I'm going to find out the answer to my question that I've been thinking about my whole life with my special guest today, War Hippies. We'll be right back. Okay, there's the first break.
Cool.
Now I'll do the second intro of you guys. Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. My special guests today are War Hippies. This is a band that is doing so much in addition to producing some incredibly beautiful music that I can already tell that I'm already out of time and we haven't already started. So let's get started. They are a country music duo comprised of combat veterans Scooter Brown, Donnie Reis. They formed in 2022. Their experience in combat and love for country has inspired some really incredible music, which we'll be playing throughout the show today, as well as initiatives for veterans that have rallied their fans in support and action. War Hippies has garnered widespread critical acclaim for their genuine songwriting and their stellar live performances. But before they were War Hippies, there was Scooter Brown. Scooter served 4 years and 3 months and 2 tours overseas, with 1 tour of combat in Iraq as a United States Marine. Musically, he has more than 5 million streams across all his platforms, and they are counting. The wheel is spinning as we talk right now here on the radio. He debuted at the Grand Ole Opry in 2019 and has performed at the Ryman Auditorium, won the 2020 Fan Army Award and the 2019 Male Vocalist of the Year Award at the Rocky Mountain Country Music Awards. He's competed on USA Network's Real Country on Travis Tritt's team. We just had, I'll talk about that in a minute. And he was named to Rolling Stone's 10 country artists that you need to know. His bandmate is equally impressive. Donnie Reis served in the U.S. Army from 2001 to 2009. One combat tour in Iraq during Operation Iraqi Freedom from 2004 to 2005. Donnie's music catalog has achieved 26 Billboard top 10s and 4 songs on the Billboard 200 chart to date. He's the owner and the executive producer of the 12-3 South Recording Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. And I love this. You launched, Donnie, your own violin line in 2017, the Donnie Reis Violin Collection. War Hippies are a must-see status with country fans. Their debut self-titled album, War Hippies, was released on October 14th, 2022. So at the break, go download it, go get it. The album quickly reached number 8 on the iTunes country chart and number 30 across all genres in its first week of release. And this past year in 2022, very cool, Travis Tritt and Chris Jansen added War Hippies to their Can't Miss tour. Welcome, guys. How are you?
Good.
Great. Thanks for having us.
So good to have you on the show. Love the music. We were putting it together in the soundtrack this morning for a couple hours with my sound engineer, and we had a lot of fun. Not only is the music great, the videos are incredible, which we're going to talk about as we introduce the music. So in my introduction, which you guys were here, you heard, this is always, if I could ask this question, because I think you guys would have the right answer for me. You know, what do you say to a war veteran when you meet them? I mean, there's so much to say, but how do you connect in that way?
You know, it's I don't know that I have the answer for you either. I'll tell you this: I'm a firm believer, and Donnie and I kind of state this just about every night at our shows. I don't believe that necessarily saying anything is really necessary, but we think the best way to thank somebody for their service is literally just to get up every day and pursue happiness to the best of your ability and live your best life, because there's a lot of people that don't get to anymore that fought for the idea of freedom. And you know, it doesn't matter where our government sends us, whether we agree with it or not. Like when we put the uniform on, 99% of us put it on because we believe in fighting for freedom for all people. And there's a lot of people that have done that and have sacrificed their lives, sacrificed their body, their mind, and we do it for people to pursue happiness and live in a free country.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrap that up by saying, like, I don't think that anything needs to be said, really. I think it's just like we want to know that people just appreciate the freedom and that they're waking up every day and using it to the best of their ability.
That's it.
Yeah.
Donnie, is that way how you feel?
Yeah. I mean, you know, we always hear thank you for your service, which is, you know, it's very much appreciated. Absolutely. But a lot of us are of the mindset, like Scott said, it's, you know, it's kind of like, don't mention it, you know, just, you know, get up and live your life and be happy. And just, you know, remember that there's been a lot of people that have fought and died for your ability to be and live and express yourself in the beautiful way that America allows you to do it.
I think that's beautiful. That's a beautiful idea. When you think about it that way, just that's even more that plays along with the idea that what you did, which when you signed up and when you went on tour, you were doing it for those reasons, so that I could wake up and just appreciate it. And so when I wake up in a bad mood, or when I wake up and I complain about the silliest things, the best thank you you're saying to you and to the veterans is just to really say, hey, well, look at what I have. You know, look at the country we live in. Look at the city I live in. Look at the, you know, what I get to do today, and I've got those freedoms. And there's a reason for that, because others have come before and are still serving out there so that we can enjoy our days, our time on earth that's really unselfish. It's a beautiful thought, though. I
I think that you know, I've been fortunate enough to travel a lot, and I've been to every state in the union. I've been to 3 different U.S. territories and 36 or 38 different countries, and you know, America has never been perfect, but it's pretty dang good. And I think that when you see the world the way that some of us have seen it, it's like, well, I mean, I'm not taking this for granted. Like, I mean, we have our issues and our problems amongst each other, but you know, that's part of this whole experience of a melting pot that we have, you know, that's never happened before. And you know, but in all reality, like, you know, somebody's that's down on their luck has it a lot better than a lot of other places around the world. You know, and I think just it's important to remember that, and to keep the idea of freedom alive, you know, for all people everywhere.
What really made me think of you guys, and a little bit in a bigger picture as well, it was your music today, and it struck me that that's a gift. Obviously, being musicians and giving that gift of your music that you make, but your lyrics and just the beautiful harmonies and the way that the music carries a message almost in that unspoken way you just described. Doesn't your music, what you guys are doing with your music, musically and artistically, carries that unspoken uplifter, that message?
Yeah, well, it's a reflection of our experiences, you know, our lives, our families, you know, and it's an experience of it's a reflection of how we feel about, you know, everything and about people, and then, you know, and a lot of it is from the heart and true stories, and then, you know, a lot of it is storytelling in its most genuine sense. And you know, we work hard at it, and we're very thankful to be able to do it. So hopefully you can feel that and hear that, and the fact that we really enjoy doing it, and are very blessed to have the opportunity to do it.
Is it okay if I ask you about yourself? You know, who are you, Donnie, and how did you know, I know you served, and you're a musician, and you've got all these great, both of you have a list of accomplishments, but who are you, Donnie? And I want to ask the same as Scotty, like, who, as a person, what did you go through to get where you are today and to pursue a life in music?
Sure. Well, I'm just, you know, to start out, I'm just a poor kid from Ohio who wanted to be a Major League Baseball player, like all the rest of us. I'm born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I, in a very early age, you know, had a proclivity towards athletics, but also had a proclivity. It was really drawn towards music, and we had the orchestra program come through when I was in the 5th grade, and I begged my parents to play the violin, and they thought, they didn't have any idea why. And my dad said to me, he said, you know, just give me your word that you'll learn how to play it. And as soon as I got that thing, I'll never forget opening the case and smelling the wood and the rosin, and then they taught me how to use it. And I took that thing with me to the bathroom, you know, for the next 10 years. And you know, my dad was a service technician, 2 great parent, you know, 2 great family, very supportive, you know, 2 beautiful brothers. But we were, you know, just a normal, you know, family in Ohio growing up, and I was and believe it or not, you know, they you know, they awarded this knucklehead a full scholarship to college, and I was the first person in my family with the last name Reis to ever attend college, and it was because of that violin. And you know, that's it's one of the that's one of the reasons that, yeah, it's very cool. And that's one of the main reasons that we've got I've got my own violin line and things like that. It's to inspire the kids, and we'll talk more about that as we move along. But you know, that's really it. It just and then, you know, had a strong desire to serve my country, and the opportunity presented itself, and that's really the only time that I've really taken a break from music. Got back from Iraq and kind of hit the ground running. And actually, the first thing I was in was a black gospel band named Champion, and we did really well. We had 2 number ones on 3 number one records. That was really cool. And then just kind of have moved on and evolved and been able to work in all these different genres. And now we've got this thing with the War Hippies, which is seems more like a movement than it does a band, I think, more than anything. So it's kind of come full circle from this, this kid who probably wouldn't have graduated high school if they wouldn't have brought the orchestra program along.
Music really, in a way, saved you and guided you all the.
I say saved my life. The only the military and war really taught me how to listen and how to be a better man. Taught me how what I was doing wrong, how to really self-reflect. And then after that, of course, my beautiful wife came along and really saved my butt. And
as they always do.
That is the truth. Behind me, yes, behind us all, there's a great woman.
Yes. Well, let me go back, if you don't mind, to the choice you received, first family member to go to college, receive a scholarship in college because of the violin, and congratulations on that. I'm sure you're still happy about that one. That would be such a thrill to get. But then you made the choice. You had this strong, as you put it, this strong calling, this desire to serve. Where did that come from? Well, in the middle of like, here's my music career taking, in a way, I can see the future, but I'm going to put it on hold and go serve. Was that a hard decision? Where did that come from? That strong desire?
Honestly, it wasn't a hard decision. There was a lot of military in my family. My great uncle Donald landed on the beaches of Normandy in World War II. My grandpa served in the Marine Corps during Korea. My uncle Tony did 2 tours in Vietnam and as a Marine. And my uncle Jimmy was in the Marine Corps. And so I just had this really strong, we had, obviously right back in that time frame, the book Black Hawk Down and the movie had come out. So we were kind of reading that. It was really inspiring, our generation and really opening our eyes to what was going on. And then, when the towers went down, it was just kind of, I think for a lot of us, it's just the straw that broke the camel's back. It was really it seemed like a no-brainer. And I know for me, it was like, how fast can I get, involved in this? And I think it was definitely harder on everyone else. Everyone else thought it was absolutely crazy, but to me, I knew I was doing the right thing, and that's just 100% what I was supposed to be doing.
You mentioned that the Army made you a better man and made you listen more, made you more responsible. I mean, maybe it's spoken of, but when I don't hear a lot of that description of the Army or of serving in combat or going through training, it's discipline. Yes, it's probably the best discipline in the world and training in the world. But when you serve, but I'm thinking about the similarities to sports and a team, and then the military. What does it teach you as a man and to become a better man? Because I don't hear that a lot, but I think that's really true. That's a really true statement that you probably should hear more often. The lessons that you learn, how it shapes you.
Well, I think for me, I know for me, it was, facing for the first time in my life, truly facing my mortality. And so you have, you have downtime to think, and you have self-reflection, and you really do have to listen, because you're going into a situation you've never been in before, and you need to listen to those who've gone in before. Right. And so you realize where your flaws are, where your strengths are. And for me, it was just, if I die right now, I just felt like I had not been, I felt like I could have been better to those who cared for me and loved me. And at that point in time, it was really an epiphany of when I was facing my mortality at that at that age, I felt like there were a lot of things that I could have done better. And now I'm very thankful for the opportunity to still be alive and to have been able to be, a better brother, a better son, a better friend, a good husband. Those things are blessings in everyday life. And I think that's really what I mean when I say that.
Scooter, tell us about your experience. By the way, before you start on the radio, we're doing this, this is a radio show, but it is also taped on YouTube. Scooter, I hope you don't mind if I divulge before I air, you had mowed your lawn, you jumped in the pool. Now you're sitting on your porch looking out at your acreage, and you're like the land man. It's just a beautiful scene there. It looks great. Nashville, right? Outside of Nashville.
Yeah. I'm a outdoors junkie nerd. I probably spend, when I'm at my house, I spend 90% of the time outside, whether it's summer or winter. It's just my place. I love it.
Are you wearing shoes?
I'm in my flops.
Okay, good. Okay, back to, sorry I cut you off. I just had to set the scene there. That's such a, I was telling you, I'm envious. You're outside and I'm in a studio and it looks beautiful.
Oh, it's killer. I'm hoping these storms hold off while we're doing this interview, though.
How far apart are you guys right now in location?
35 minutes.
35 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. So I actually grew up in Colorado, just on the eastern slope in Golden area of Colorado, and same thing. Grew up playing baseball and doing the sports thing, and then started working a lot of ranches, and got into doing high school rodeo, where I rode bulls and tried my hand at some bareback horses and some other stuff like that. And I always knew that I was joining the military, like from a very young age. I probably could have had some opportunities with some other things, but I just knew that that's what I was going to do. And I actually went to go join the Army. This is a really funny story. And I went to go meet the recruiter, and this guy walks out, and he just wasn't the best. He wasn't the best representation of the Army at the time, and he forgot I was coming. And
That's
so he told me to sit on a curb, and this guy, he walked out and he was smoking a cigarette, kind of had a little bit of a pot belly. His pant leg was hiked up, and I was just kind of like, man, this guy's a little weird, but whatever. So he told me, he said, man, I forgot you were coming.
It's always a great way to start, right? Start a relationship. I forgot you were coming. Thank you.
I feel like the Army recruiter and the Marine Corps recruiter were in the same office, and they like going back and forth for quota. Now your turn to go out. Your turn to go out and be the shitbag.
You might have been.
And cigarettes, like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I forgot you were coming, and I'll be back in 20 minutes, man. Have a seat on the curb. And I was just sitting on the curb outside. And so I was sitting there for about 5 minutes, and then the door swings open, and I look over my shoulder, and here comes this Marine, and he's jacked into like perfect uniform and creases, and like his name was Staff Sergeant Gonzalez. And he looked at me, he said, hey man, what are you doing? I said, man, I'm sitting here waiting for the Army recruiter. And he was like, you want to look like him or you want to look like this? And I said, I want to look like that. And he said, step into my office. I didn't really know a whole lot about the Marine Corps. I was kind of a same thing, watched a lot of Green Beret movies and, stuff like that. And that's kind of where I wanted to go. But I joined the Marine Corps that day. When it comes to music, when I joined the Marine Corps, I had intention on doing 20 years and retiring. Had no other plan. I was a scout in light armored reconnaissance. We were kind of a jack of all trades. I loved my job. I succeeded at my job and excelled at my job. But I learned how to play guitar in the Marine Corps. And so reverse a little bit back to when I was doing my rodeo stuff, I really got involved in Western poetry, Baxter Black, and stuff like that, where I started writing Western poetry. I just didn't tell anybody about it. And I was kind of doing it for myself and very like outdoors uh, stuff. But I've always loved music, and music has always hit me. Like, a song can make me emotional. And a guy was walking across when I first got to the fleet with a guitar and a cowboy hat on. And I was like, I should go talk to that guy. And he ended up becoming one of my best friends. And he would teach me a few chords, and I would steal his guitar. And finally, he was like, man, you need to go get your checkbook. I'm driving you into Oceanside, and you're getting your own guitar. And so I got my own guitar, and kind of like what Donnie did with his violin when he first got it, I was obsessed with it. I would take it in the bathroom. I would get up early for chow, play before chow, play during the, between the break between that and formation before we started the day. And I started writing songs, and I fell in love with it. And I was about to do my second reenlistment. I was going to go to Bridgeport, California to be a mountain survival instructor. And I turned it down at the last minute and ended up moving down to Texas with a bunch of friends, because I'd kind of found out about this Texas scene of music and started to pursue music. So after I got back from Iraq, I moved down to Texas and kind of lived in a double wide trailer with my buddy's dad on 40 acres. And I cut and mowed and baled hay and wrote songs on the porch for probably about a year or so. And then that's how I got started kind of going into music.
Did you think at that time, I'm going to be a big star? I'm going to be a big country music star. I'm going to do all the things that have happened, that you set in motion. Did you think that big, or did you think I'm working for a living, I'm living life, I'm playing music, that's enough? Or did you want more?
I wanted more out of it. Like I wanted to see if I could do it. I didn't know anybody involved in music. I had no idea what I was doing. But I started off small. I started off with one goal at a time. And I remember a conversation that I had with my dad, and I said, one day I just want to play on a stage with a microphone and speakers in front of people. And that happened. And then it was like, I want to put together a band. And then that happened. And then I want to make an album. I want to record music. And that happened. And I was like, I want to hear one of my songs on the radio one day. And that happened. You know what I mean? So like, yeah. I just like, I've always had it in my head, but I'm also realistic in knowing like I just have to take baby steps, because I didn't know nothing about music. Donnie and I are complete opposites when it comes to music. He's a classically trained. He understands theory. He can read it, probably write it, all the things. Whereas I can't tell you what chord or what key I'm playing in half the time, because I learn by ear, and everything that I do is by memorization, which is what I think is really unique about our music styles, is that we bring two completely different styles together in creating music. But I knew that if I was going to get out of the Marine Corps, that I was going to try my best at it. And it really wasn't until I met my wife. I met her in Texas, and we've been together now for 18 years, 4 kids. And thank you. And she's the one that really pushed me, because I'm naturally lazy. Like I have to push myself. I have to have intention, or somebody lighting a fire. And my wife was the light in the fire. And she was the one who was like, man, you need to be doing this. You need to be booking shows here. So she actually started booking for myself, and then another country artist that I started with, Cody Johnson. And Cody and I were writing together and playing the Texas circuit. And she was kind of booking and managing us both until we both got on with a booking agency in Texas. But no, I still pinch myself every day that I do this for a living, and that we've accomplished what we've accomplished and creative relationships with the people we've created relationships with. Um, it's been a long road. Like, I started this journey. I mean, I started Scooter Brown Band in 2005 in Texas. I was there for about 12 years until Charlie Daniels took me under his wing, him and his manager, David Corlew. And I moved to Nashville about 8 years ago. But I still am just like, is this really what I get to do? Like, this is amazing.
Incredible.
Like, I just love it.
What a great story both of you guys have. And I love how how did it actually, let me put it this way. The classically trained, Donnie's classically trained, reads music and all that, and you're trained by your ear. Donnie, how does I'm trying to think of how to phrase this correctly. How does the music come together the way you guys do it so well together with those two different disciplines and those two different backgrounds and musically trained as someone who can read sheet music and write it and all that, and you're classically trained, does it ever complicate, or is it actually
no
match made in heaven?
Well, I am classically trained, but you have to realize I haven't seen it. I have seen probably 3 pieces of sheet music in 25 years. Like, I have to make it up in my brain, because I'm usually working with people. I don't have an orchestra. I don't have, band players. I don't, we're not doing any of that. We're playing. And so, we do very similar things. It's just as the way, I could, if you put it down in front of me, yeah, I can read it, but nobody gives me that. Nobody gives us music. I think I had one gig where I was in a big band and I had sheet music, and I was like, wow, this makes it a whole lot faster. And I forgot how fast you can move when you don't have to make it up out of your brain all the time. No, it's very, very complimentary styles. I mean, we've grew up listening to a lot of the same music. I mean, he's definitely a little more old country than I am, but we have a lot of the same. We like a lot of the same things, a lot of similarities as people. So that's really the biggest thing. And as a producer and as somebody who's played in so many different genres, my job is really to listen more than anything. So, once I started listening to Scott as a songwriter and listening to him as an artist, then I'm able to kind of come in, begin to complement that. And then once I'm able to complement that, then we started creating together, which is, but the chemistry was there from the very beginning, and that's really the most important. I mean, the first time Scott and I ever played together, he's in my studio and we're just hanging out. That's all. I've never heard him play. He's never heard me play. We're just hanging out as buddies. He's in my studio. We're hanging out. He goes, hey, I got a show coming up. You want to come play it? And I'm like, well, sure, I guess. And so, it kind of dawns on us. We're standing backstage and I'm realizing, man, I've never heard this guy play. And I know he's never heard me play. And so I'm like, what are we going to play? And he goes, I don't know. I was like, you give me like a key signature or something, so we at least have an idea. And I'm like, and he's like, no, I'm just gonna wing it, And so that's that. So we get up there and we play, and I think we ended up with in a big cast of characters and having never heard each other, having never rehearsed anything, and we ended up with like a 2 or 3 minute standing ovation. Wow. And then, right then and there, the lightning had struck. But, situations like that, I've been in not anything where the lightning had struck like that before, but a lot of times as a musician, you're really thrown into the fire. And it's just like, play. You're like, well, what do you want me to play? Well, I don't know. Just play. You're supposed to know the parts,
I love that. I love that. Fire, lightning struck, and you guys knew. You just knew you were there. You were in it. And we are with War Hippies right now. The album is out. You got a minute here during commercial break. Go download, go pick up a copy. There's a new release slated for the fall 2023. Maybe we'll hear a little bit about that. I'm with Scooter Brown, Donnie Reis. Their website is warhippies.com. You can find all their social media links from warhippies.com. It's pretty easy. It's War Hippies Music or War Hippies. Search it out, find it. And I'm going to take you to break right now with the War Hippies. And let me tell you what you're going to be listening to, and maybe we can talk about it on the other side. The Hangman. We'll be right back.